This is Rick Alamanti coming to you with our third chapter of From the Center Seat, in which we go further backward in time and explore with you a little bit about the mediation submission and some of the things that I think you should bear in mind. First of all, I strongly encourage that you do mediation submissions. Second of all, I recommend that you do them with sufficient time to have adequate discussions with the mediator during the pre-mediation caucuses. Obviously, the essential purpose of a mediation submission is to get the mediator up to speed before the mediation. It's the first thing he or she will look at before engaging in pre-mediation caucuses, and this submission will prove extremely helpful in having meaningful conversations from the very first pre-mediation caucus. A common decision to make is the mediation submission to be shared or ex parte. And my own practice preference is, surprise, surprise, both. I ask the parties in mediations before me to send me submissions that I may share with the other side only when I have them both in my hand, so that each party gets it at the same time without the benefit of any de facto reply. So, some thoughts on the shared submission, which again I encourage you to do. The shared submission is not meant to convince the other side that they're going to lose. A shared submission should have a more objective tone, set out the critical facts, the critical law, and also include, I think, some complimentary or conciliatory language to the effect of that we're here to settle, we have an open mind, etc., etc. Be in a concise size and include the exhibits that are necessary to help the mediator better understand the case, but certainly not to throw everything, including the kitchen sink, at the mediator. I need you to point me to the critical aspects of the record. So what are some of the reasons why we would want you to do a shared submission? Well, first of all, these submissions are coming before the ex parte calls. This will then posture the case best for productive pre-mediation calls and eventually the mediation itself. Now, as to the ex parte submission, this is very often restricted to settlement history. I encourage the parties that it can be an email to me. It's something I don't share, but it can also be really helpful. And one of the nice, pleasant surprises I occasionally get from the ex parte submissions is finding out that the parties are not as far apart as they think. I typically accept every settlement position with a grain of salt, figuring there is flexibility. But when I see from the mediation submission that there is a wide range in the shared submissions and a much tighter, closer settlement range in the ex parte submissions, I have some hope that maybe we can get this done. So the ex parte submission is generally of a pretty modest length. It's an opportunity to share private points with the mediator, talk about the settlement history, talk about your evaluation of the case, and ideally including some concessions you prefer to make only privately, and share with the mediator what some of the impediments have been to settlement to date. But bear in mind that just as if this was a mediation caucus or breakout session or a mediation conference with the mediator in a caucus or breakout section, these ex parte submissions are exactly that. They're ex parte and they're confidential, and they are meant for the mediator's eyes only, and they can really help the mediator understand your position and give the mediator more things to ask you about in private session that would not be raised with the adversary. My recommendation is an ex parte and a shared submission. The shared submissions provide the fuel for the pre-mediation conferences, and the pre-mediation conferences can form the basis and really build a foundation, as discussed in my last session, or my last center seat, on how we proceed going forward. So thank you. You have been listening to From the Center Seat. From the Center Seat is a copyrighted production from Alamanti Law Offices and Alamanti Mediation Services.